What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and we got an injury update around Aaron Jones coming in from Kevin O'Connell as he had an emergency press conference about a couple hours ago. And I will say we got some great news, but we also have some bad news on Aaron Jones as he may be expected to miss some time. But before we dive into that, guys, if you guys could make sure you guys are subscribed here to the channel. We're trying to hit 36,000 subs by the game starting next Sunday against the Detroit Lions, and we just need 400 more of you guys to hit that subscribe button, lock us in. I would really appreciate it. If you guys want everything you need to know around your Minnesota Vikings, hit that sub button. Don't miss a thing. And hey, you guys can help us reach 36,000 subscribers. That would be awesome. But this is what Kevin O'Connell had to say around Aaron Jones as he says he will be listed week to week, which is not good news. However, he did say he avoided major injury, which is fantastic. Now, I will say this. When I got the notification on my phone about the Vikings declaring an emergency press conference for Kevin O'Connell, and I will say I almost threw up listening to this. I don't know if this was KOC and just his, me reading his face, but he looked like he was about to throw up, and I was about to throw up listening to him. I thought he was a second away of saying Aaron Jones will be out for the remainder of the year, but he wasn't, which is great news. But now with the Vikings, not really having a strong running back behind Aaron Jones. Like, yes, I love Ty Chandler, but he is a true running back too. I wouldn't feel comfortable giving him 20, 25 carries. That's no disrespect to him. I just think he plays his best ball when he is only getting probably 10 to 12 carries a game. And, what's so frustrating with this is, like, we saw the second half offensive against the Jets just completely hit a wall once Aaron Jones left that game. Like, they weren't able to establish any sort of a run game, which led them to getting in third and longs, which then, you let the Jets and their pass rush just pin their ears back and get home to Darnold, and then you're able to force Darnold into a late game interception, which almost sparked the Jets' comeback in London. But Aaron Jones so far, he's been awesome this year. Like 71 carries, 351 yards, 4.9 yards per clip, and 2 touchdowns. And I think there's no doubt, like, the run game will struggle without Jones. So also later on today's show, I have 10 names for you guys of running backs the Vikings could bring in, 5 free agents, 5 trade targets, so stay tuned for that. But, there's no doubt that this run game took a hit. And, we saw it against the New York Jets, and especially if you're going against the Lions in a big-time divisional matchup, like, not having a running game is going to seriously hurt this offense. And I specifically chose this picture because also Jones, as a pass catcher, is way better than any other running back the Vikings have on this roster. Sam Darnold goes out for a play, Nick Mullins steps in, and he takes a 50-50 fade route with Aaron Jones over the top of Quincy Williams, and he made a hell of a catch. Like, he mossed one of the best coverage linebackers in the NFL. But, I think if we're looking at this Lions game, and it is a very, very important game, like, there is no doubt about it. Like, this will have not only NFC North implications, but I also believe this could have first-round bye implications possibly. And, if you don't have Jones, you're not able to get a run game going, and you let Aiden Hutchinson and the boys just pin their ears back and get home to Darnold, like, I feel a lot less confident heading into this ball game. But, Aaron Jones week to week has been fantastic. And, first week against the New York Giants, going over 100 total yards, 6.7 yards per carry. He was great. He struggled on the ground against the San Francisco 49ers, but he was pretty good in the pass catching department and was still able to get to 68 total yards. Was only averaging 3.6 yards per clip that game. But against the Texans, this dude was a monster. 19 carries, 148 total yards, 5.4 yards per carry in that game. Didn't find the end zone, but then we take it to the Lambeau where Aaron Jones in his revenge game. It was so funny watching that game. I just felt like Kevin O'Connell almost got, too cute in terms of, like, trying to force an Aaron Jones touchdown. Like, they ran him probably like 6, 7, 8 times at the goal line that game, but he was still very productive. And then even against the Jets, like, starting that game, he didn't play the second half, but in the first half, he had 7 carries, 53 total yards, and 4.1 yards per carry. And I think that, what's going to suck about not having Aaron Jones is now more of the attention is going to go to Justin Jefferson. Like, that's why I love the pickup in the offseason where it's like, hey, you're bringing in a running back where guys are going to have to put 8+ guys in the box. And, this stat is crazy, but Aaron Jones has faced an 8-man box on 26.7% of his carries this season. with all the weapons the Vikings have on the outside, this is telling me that other defenses are still trying to take away Aaron Jones as their top priority. But even more advanced numbers for him. Missed tackles forced, he had 16. 10-plus yard runs, he had 9. His rushing yards over expected was plus 41 on the season. Rushing yards over expected per attempt was plus half a yard. So he was killing it. The advanced numbers show it. The eye test shows it with Aaron Jones. So, I'm going to say it's unlikely he plays against the Detroit Lions. And, I could really see the Vikings maybe hopping in the, trade market, or maybe they try to sign a guy off the streets just to bring in another body, just for it's not like you are giving all the load to Ty Chandler, Myles Gaskin, even C.J. Ham. I mean, C.J. Ham got a carry in the second half versus the Jets. Kind of speaks to how depleted, this group is without Aaron Jones in the lineup. But, hopefully it ends up working out. Jones is able to recover, and he's out there versus the Detroit Lions. But let's show him some love on today's show. Type his jersey number. Type those 33s down below in the comment section if you guys want to show AJ, our guy, some love. And wish him a speedy recovery. But let's talk about some free agent targets here. I already put out a video this morning talking about it, but just in case you guys missed it, there are some decent options out there. And, we're going to start off here with the 2017 Vikings running back room. How about Jerick McKinnon and Latavius Murray? So if I had to pick one of these guys, I'm probably going to lean Murray, mainly because I think the Vikings need a more physical back. A guy where it's on the goal line, first and goal from the 4, you can just give him the football and you can guarantee he's getting in there. Plus, with C.J. Ham leading the way, I would love to bring in Murray. And plus, he's a guy already familiar with Minneapolis. He's played here. He was very, very productive in that 2017 season when the Vikings went to the NFC Championship game. But, if I had to pick one free agent, it's probably Latavius over a guy like Jerick. But there are also other guys like Matt Breida. He could be an interesting option. But again, if we're going to go pick up a guy like Breida, I would rather just honestly just give more carries to Ty Chandler and help him develop, or even a guy like Myles Gaskin, or even a guy like possibly Dwayne McBride, which we'll talk about here in a second. But you also got a guy like Melvin Gordon out in the free agent market right now. I'm probably out on Gordon. At least what we recently saw of him in the NFL. He doesn't have the same juice as he once was. He had fumbling issues, which, as we know, the Vikings, they got the fumbling bug almost the last 2 years where they just can't take care of the football. I mean, we even saw Ty Chandler this past week. Pitch to the left. It just goes straight off his chest up in the air, and the Jets almost took that for 6. But Melvin Gordon, I'd be out on him. And then we could talk about Dwayne McBride. The Vikings, they cut him from the practice squad. Also want to throw in Kene Nwangwu, who is on the Jets practice squad. Maybe they bring him back. He's familiar with the system. He's familiar with what Kevin O'Connell wants to get done. But if I had to pick any of these 5 guys, I am leaning with Latavius Murray. But what if the Vikings want to hop in the trade market? Now, we're going to talk about Dalvin Cook. I'm out on this. I understand it would be a cool story, but, Dalvin's just nowhere near the same running back as he once was. We followed the RYOE on him over the last couple of years at Minnesota, and he really fell off a cliff. So Dalvin, I understand he's familiar with the system. He's familiar with Minneapolis, but I wouldn't give up a single draft pick, for him. But I do want to talk about 2 guys right here who would be big-time targets. So Travis Etienne. Now, I don't know if the Jags would be open to moving him, as they did take him in the first round a couple years ago. But with Tank Bigsby coming on strong the past couple of weeks, maybe they could try to get a 3rd-round pick for Etienne. I'm not really sure what his trade value would be on the open market. And I also do want to throw out there Nick Chubb. I had a couple people ask me about him on Twitter. I don't think the Browns would move off him, but they are 1-4. And they are in absolute crisis there in Cleveland right now. So maybe they would want to load up draft picks and almost spark a rebuild, under Deshaun Watson. But again, Nick Chubb would be a name where I would be all in on it if Jones was, out for the year. But he is listed as week to week. So we move on to Jamal Williams here. I don't think it's a bad choice. He's a good goal line back. You could probably get him for a 6th, 7th round pick. But his contract's a little hefty. I don't know if the Vikings would want to take that on. But in terms of a goal line back, I would be all in on him. Then you would have a 3-headed monster of Jones, Jamal Williams, and Ty Chandler. That would be one of the better ones in the National Football League. Now, last 2 names here. You still got Miles Sanders on the Carolina Panthers. He's the name to look out for with Chuba Hubbard emerging over the last couple of weeks. And you also got Frank Gore Jr., a pretty popular name. He ran hard in the preseason. But, again, I'm not giving up any draft capital. You could just go poach him, off the Bills practice squad. But if I had to choose any of these guys, I'm probably riding with Latavius Murray. I would love for the Vikes to bring him back. Anytime I'm thinking, oh, Latavius is cooked at this point, he always proves me wrong. So if I had to pick one, I'm going Latavius Murray, but you guys let me know your thoughts down below. Name a running back the Vikings should bring in. With Aaron Jones week to week, this is great and bad news. O'Connell did say they're going to continue further testing with Aaron Jones, which I guess was not the best update we could have got, but at least it's not a major injury, which is fantastic news, or else I'm not saying I would be panicking on the rest of the year, but it would change my complete outlook on this football team because the whole offense, just like most offenses in the National Football League, start with running the football. But specifically with the Vikings, it helps open up stuff for Justin Jefferson, and we don't have Aaron Jones there. It makes it a lot harder to get number 18 the football, but also with Hott coming back, it would open it up, and obviously you still got Addison there. So I'm not too worried, but again, once we get more reports on this, I'll have a better thought on what the Vikings should do at that running back spot. But if you guys also want to give me a follow on Twitter, that's a handle right there, at Pat Sieps. Give me a follow over there. I'll give you guys a follow right back. But see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching today's show. Skol Vikes.